I want to quickly review the requirements for your scientific journal paper critique. It is worth 15 points. And this document is several pages long, but it will give you some ideas and hints on how to write the best possible scientific journal paper critique. So some guidelines. It must be a peer-reviewed paper, so that means it's in a scientific journal and other scientists have reviewed this paper. In an earlier video, I showed you how to go online to search for peer-reviewed papers. And if you're unsure, you can ask me. But if it's in a scientific journal like Journal of Athletic Training or Journal of Physical Therapy or Journal of Exercise Physiology, I like to use Medicine, Science, and Sports and Exercise. These are all peer-reviewed journals. It must be a primary research paper. So that means the authors of the paper, that they actually did an experiment, because part of your review is going to be reviewing this experiment. Was it a good design? Did they measure what they wanted to measure? Some peer-reviewed papers will be what are called review papers, meaning they reviewed other people's work. They didn't do the experiment, they're reviewing other people's work. I don't want you to read a review paper. I want you to read a primary research paper and critique that research. So sometimes it'll say, the title will be a review of heart rate monitors. So you know that that's a review paper. And a lot of times in the abstract, it will say, this is a review. So make sure you pick a primary research paper, not review. The topic is your choice, although it must be related to our class, so exercise physiology, and I'd like it to be relatively recent, so 2010. It's going to be 3 pages total, and it's double-spaced. It is inch margins, 12-point font, so sort of normal things. Make sure you don't plagiarize. Make sure you don't cut and paste by mistake. And at the top of the first page of your article, you're going to type out, or from the library website, or there's generators, you're going to cut and paste the correct APA format. So that typically in exercise science, we use APA format for American Psychological Association, and you can look online. But you're going to use the correct APA format, and you're going to stick the reference at the top, at the beginning of your article. No cover page, just make sure your name and our class is on the top. Exercise science typically writes, or science in general, typically writes in the passive voice. So the passive voice is not monkeys adore bananas, but bananas are adored by the monkeys. Or not the dog is chasing the squirrel, but the squirrel was chased by the dog. So that's called passive voice. Also, when you're critiquing the paper, you're going to write in the third person. So you'll say, the study was well designed or something like that, but you're not going to say that I liked the study design. The third page of this paper, it will be a reflection, so that you can write in the first person, because you're reflecting on what this article means, and can you apply it to your profession, to your future career. Great. So here are some more suggestions. And as I mentioned, the last page is a reflection. Here's sort of my rubric or my grading scale. So there's a knowledge rubric. Did you understand the study? And it's 3 points. So my target is this, that you understood the article completely. And if you don't, let me know. I'm happy to go over it with you. Was it acceptable? I mean, a couple errors, or it's obviously that you didn't quite get the study. So this would be like worth 3 points, 2 points, and needs improvement is just 1 point. And the quality of the paper, that it was really well neat. There was no typos. It was organized well, no grammar things. So that's 3 points. If there's a couple mistakes, that's 2 points. If I start like counting misspelled words or typos or something, that's 1 point. And then here's your analysis of this paper. And again, that's 3 points. And 3 points for some of the organization. So is the reference at the top part of the page. Here it is in Journal of Motor Behavior, not XPhys, but that's motor behavior, but that's in APA format. Was it submitted in Word? So make sure you submit it in Word. If you're using Google Docs or some other program, most of those you can click export and save it as a doc, DOC or DOCX file. Make sure it's a primary research paper, as I mentioned before. And you also need to send the actual PDF of the paper, not a link, but the actual PDF. So you need to download the PDF onto your laptop or on your computer and then upload that PDF back into Blackboard. So that's also worth 3 points, just that sort of organization. And the final 3 points is your reflection. So this can be written in the first person. So did you like it? Did you not like it? How would you apply it to your career, to your exercise, to your kind of training? How does it relate to some things that we've talked about already, like maybe fuel utilization or blood lactate or something like that, or maybe future things that we're going to be talking about, like VO2 max and what limits VO2 max and heart rate and cardiac output. And so what are the practical applications of this study? So that's the last page. That's sort of your reflection. And then I have even more ideas. You'll notice, and some of you read these before, scientific papers they're broken up into these sections. So it's really easy for you to write about these different sections. And if you want, in your paper, you can have a section that's called Introduction, and you can then write about the introduction that was in the paper. Here's some more guidelines and some more questions I've sort of typed out, and you can decide if these questions will help you as you're critiquing the paper. And even some more help. It's going to be a peer review. Here's American Journal of Applied Physiology, New England Journal of Medicine. MMSE is Medicine, Science, and Sports and Exercise that I use. Other things like New York Times or Shape Magazine or Men's Health, those are not scientific literature. And some of the results and some of the statistics, don't worry too much about that if you haven't had a statistics course, but they should probably have some kind of statistics in their paper. And if they don't, that would be a limitation. You would critique that. So just some guidelines on how to complete and get the best possible grade for this 3-page scientific journal paper critique. And if you have any questions, maybe about the paper, like maybe the methods, or you don't understand stuff, you can send it to me, and please feel free to ask me. If you have questions, if the paper is relevant and is it peer-reviewed and is it a primary research paper, you can send me the PDF of that paper and I can let you know. So again, here's another assignment for our summer exercise physiology class, and it's a 3-page scientific journal paper critique.